What is up, everyone? We have a very hot and contentious episode today. My name is Ice, and with us, as always, is Dixon. How are you?
Ice, Dixon, great to be back. Yeah, this summer is heating up, and so is Records and Rants right here. A hot episode, real hot takes today. Would you agree?
I would absolutely agree. We're gonna blow the lid off this thing.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. It is what it is. Before we get into all that, though, we have to talk about some serious business. It's everybody's favorite segment, the comment of the week with Ice and Dixon. So for full context, we did a review of the Taylor Swift Tortured Poets Department. Check that video out if you haven't seen it yet. It's kind of going a little bit viral, I'd say. We talk about how it's not very good, and what we did is the comment section was kind of getting hot too. Speaking of hot,
it was.
Speaking of getting burned up,
really was. But I think the interesting thing is, Dixon, is that a lot of Swifties agreed with us.
Yes, exactly. So then we did a part 2 episode, and we discussed some of those comments. We had some good discourse from the Swiftie faction there. And so, comment of the week comes from us from Ghost666, and I don't want to get into the whole. I think we maybe alluded to the fact there was some demonic connections to Taylor Swift.
A little bit.
This might be something that underlines that point. But she commented on our video of comments, and she or they or whatever it might be, she says, "I'm not even going to watch this, but longtime fans love TTPD." And people who don't never got her lyricism anyway. Good riddance, peace sign emoji. I think we could sum it up by saying, I don't know what there is to get. I don't know what lyricism she's talking about.
Right. What is so special? What is so deep? She's literally telling us what's happening, like word for word. She's explaining it to us.
Yeah, and you always point out that lyric. You
yes.
Can't imagine the asylum they raised me in.
Yeah. You never survive in the asylum that they raised me. Yeah. Which, and her, just so everyone knows, her quote unquote asylum is a $1 million mansion that her parents own. So that's the asylum.
Yes.
Yes. Sure. That must be impossible. I can't even imagine, Taylor. I feel so bad for you.
And true, she lays it all out there, and we were talking about this behind the scenes. There was a meme that came across and it said that, Adele and Taylor Swift are actually the same age.
Yeah.
And Adele is, I would say, more private and reserved. She doesn't have the extensive catalog that Taylor Swift does. But she's an artist. She's a songwriter. She crafts songs. Taylor Swift is brilliant as far as a marketer, as far as a businesswoman, as far as getting herself out there, creating a buzz.
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
I think, right. And I think that shows the difference in maturity levels. Adele's had some rocky relationships. She's a single mom. But just the differences in the quality and the maturity and the ideas. And you talk about lyricism. I mean, she lays it out, but that feels like a Tortured Poets Department. If you ask me, in reality.
That's a really good point. The way that Adele could convey emotions through her singing. I mean, I think her singing is beautiful. Think whatever you will about her, but I think her singing is beautiful, and I think she has a lot of talent. And I think the maturity level is 1,000,000 times higher than Taylor Swift's could ever be. It's actually, when you sent me that, I was actually shocked that they were the same age.
That's crazy. It is crazy. So, anyway, feel free to lay down some of the lyricism we're missing, because I feel like when she says she's breaking down in the gym, I feel like she's breaking down in the gym. I mean, that's pretty clear. Every boyfriend sucks, and they all ruin her life. And we hear 30 songs of that, and it is what it is. So
we get it. There's nothing to look into. So sorry.
Yes. So we get the lyricism. We get it because she says it, and you know what? It's enough's enough. But at least, hey, some Swifties might be waking up out there. In reality, based on the comments we got on our review video. So that's good news.
That's right.
All right. Well, that was our comment of the week with Ice and Dixon.
That was good stuff, as always, Dixon. Yeah. So
good stuff.
Yeah. So I think you should definitely introduce us to what we're talking about here, because you kind of started this whole thing. You kind of blew the lid off it for me, at least.
Well, yeah, kind of blew the lid off for me too. And so it started at about a week ago. I sent you a Instagram reel, and it was kind of this conspiracy page, and it was quick cuts of Neil Young and some of the headlines and things like that. And the basic idea was that Neil Young at the time was leaving Spotify because of misinformation due to Joe Rogan's podcast or being presented on Joe Rogan's show, which was hosted on Spotify. So he had nothing to do with it. Meanwhile, the video suggests that Neil Young sold out his catalog to this big time capitalist conglomerate, and then somehow Pfizer ended up buying the catalog, which then might indicate there's a connection there between Neil Young and the vaccine and Pfizer and all that stuff. Pfizer doesn't own the catalog. We're debunking that conspiracy.
Right.
However, we looked into this. And it all started with, and Neil Young went back to Spotify. He did, and I can't imagine why he would go back to Spotify, but he knows. Did. Right.
Right.
Yeah. Had enough. And but meanwhile, he's taking this hardline stance against Joe Rogan and misinformation. He also actually said 270 doctors signed a letter agreeing with his decision because of misinformation on Spotify, and it turns out that they all weren't doctors; they were medical professionals. Nonetheless, fine. That's some misinformation as well. But Neil Young did end up selling his catalog to a company, Blackstone, right?
Correct.
And just to set this up, just to get a little set this up, it originally occurred that Neil Young was selling his catalog, I think 50 or 51%, the majority of his catalog, to a subsidiary of Blackstone called Hypnosis, I believe.
Yes, the Hypnosis Group.
Hypnosis Group, right? So somehow they were affiliated with Blackstone, but turns out there wasn't any Blackstone money going into there and that kind of thing. Turns out the latest update in April of this year is that Blackstone has directly acquired Hypnosis and now controls Neil Young's catalog. So set us up. Why this is a big deal? Because Blackstone sounds like they're the ultimate capitalist regime, buying, selling trillions of dollars, from what I understand. And there's Neil Young, Mr. Keep on Rocking in the free world, and he's sold his soul, essentially.
Yeah, and this was so frustrating to me. And I think even in the beginning, when there was the Hypnosis Song Group, wasn't that a subsidiary fund of Blackstone? But now they're wholly owned by Blackstone, I believe.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
That's exactly what it was, yes. And I think the reason the Pfizer connection happened is that one of the chairmen or the board members of Hypnosis used to work for Pfizer. She was a former CEO of Pfizer. Now, you can't tell me that he doesn't still have investments somewhere with Pfizer. We're debunking it, but still, right?
Yes, we're debunking it, but there's still got to be some connection. I mean, this is like high level corporate stuff. You never just leave. You have connections everywhere. You don't want to burn your bridges. It's like
right.
There had to be something there. So I'm assuming like when they went into this, I mean, again, the very detailed specifics of the agreement that Neil Young signed have not been released, and we'll never get that. But it wouldn't surprise me if they kind of nudged him in that. Like, it just wouldn't surprise me. They kind of nudged him in that direction.
For sure. And you were telling me that. So you were telling me that. So Blackstone, I originally thought it was BlackRock, which is like, isn't like the mercenary, the oil, they're out there, they're in the trenches, right?
They're like they're another big investment group. God knows what they do, but so they very close to each other. We're talking about Blackstone here, not the nice little griddle that you like cook on. This is like take over everything that you've ever owned and loved, and they buy it. That's what Blackstone is.
You were telling me that, aren't they just buying up single family homes, just through the country, maybe even the world? They're just buying up single family homes and either sitting on them or like flipping them for like insane profits. Isn't that one of the things they do? Yes.
So now Neil, I hope you're listening. But Blackstone owns tens of thousands of single family homes. I'm going to repeat that. Tens of thousands of single family homes. We're not talking about like big apartment complexes or whatever that have just been there and they're buying them and investing. We're talking about like your house that your parents or your grandma lives in, and Blackstone buys it. That's what we're talking about. And then just owns it.
They just own it. Yeah, they just own it. That's I mean, that's absolutely shocking, but it's really hilarious that the idea that a big time corporate entity like them are so ingrained into the culture that you probably have no idea. Like you have no clue what's happening, you know?
It exactly. And
yeah,
I don't know, some people might not know that, listen to the show, but years ago I was looking for a house myself. And I obviously wasn't looking for anything big. We don't have a lot of money yet, Dixon, is what I'm saying. We're not making
Fair
hand
enough.
over fist like Neil Young.
Right, exactly,
at least for me. At least for me.
Yeah,
but
exactly. I'm with you.
So yeah, I was looking for a nice, modest house. As I was going around, I started talking to other people. This kind of stuff actually happens. It's that you're in a bidding war, and then suddenly someone comes in with cash and just buys it, and you don't know who it is. It's like, oh, it's sold to some invest. That's what they'll tell you. Oh, it's sold to someone else. It's sold to some investor who's out of state. That's usually what they say.
Right, and we've heard this before. We've heard this time and time again from a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly. So this stuff happens, and you don't have a leg to stand on, and that's essentially Blackstone. I'm not saying it happened around me. It could have been Blackstone. I don't know, but there's a lot of companies that do this. The thing is, Blackstone is one of the largest companies that does this.
Yeah. No, essentially. So I'm going to make this leap right here, right now. The idea of the American dream that artists, now Neil Young is Canadian nonetheless, but regardless, the idea of the American dream, the hardworking American, Neil Young has that whole comic series, Farm Aid, right? Standing up for the backbone of America, hard workers, right? You could make the leap that Blackstone is actively killing that American dream.
Yes.
And they own Neil Young.
I know. And therein lies the almost comical hypocrisy that Neil Young, because one guy had a show where he said that he might have not believed in the CVID shot. I don't even know if we can still say it. I'm not sure if YouTube will take us out. I'm not entirely sure.
I think you're probably right.
The vax will say.
Right.
He said he had some questions about it or whatever. And like, I'm not even saying that I agree with Joe Rogan about any of this stuff.
Right.
But Neil Young found it so pervasive that he said, well, I'm not even, if Spotify does this, then you guys are evil and I am totally out of Spotify.
Right.
Then turns around and says, oh, hey, Blackstone, mega conglomerate corporation that the largest U.S. Asset holder in the entire world. Oh, yeah. Oh, 150 million. Yeah. Sure. Morals are out the window when that money shows up. What does Blackstone do? Oh, they own like a bunch of single family homes and like they're jacking up the prices and killing the inventory. Who cares? That's Neil Young for you.
That's it's so funny because originally he wrote after this conspiracy kind of came out about the Pfizer deal. He wrote a letter and he said, Blackstone is involved, but they don't directly own anything. And then I mentioned before, as of April 2024, this was a press release on Market Watch that was like buried on Google. Like I would say, like maybe that after like the top 5, 6, 7 results. Now, deep enough that people in the society with a TikTok attention span will just completely breeze past. You're not going beyond the first couple hits.
You're right. Yeah, you'll never find it. I think not to interrupt you, but like just to say how big this is, I'm pretty sure there's a study that says like 95% of people don't go past the first page.
Yeah, I believe it 100%.
Yeah, it's something crazy
that's exactly
like that.
The truth.
Yeah.
So you could put things out there and say, "Oh yeah, well we did it." Nobody knows. Nobody has any ideas. So now that Blackstone has completely bought out Hypnosis. They own Shakira's catalog too, and they own Neil Young's catalog. The majority of their catalogs, anyway. He literally is now changed the whole idea of what he actually said he did, and that is as of just a few months ago. And it's I think it waited enough, everything died down, and now people kind of forgot about that. Then Blackstone bought this all up. And the best thing about Blackstone too is not only are they actively killing the American dream, which I'm going to stand by that statement, they have all these claims about like the companies they invest in, deforestation in the Amazon and here, child labor, questions about child labor, what's happening there. And they have this headquarters in New York is like the stereotypical, like what, like imagine like I know, like a Disney villain, CEO would have worked out of, like
Yes.
black glass in a really tall building. Like just the idea that you walk in there, like I'm selling my soul as soon as I walk into the store, and I know exactly what I'm doing,
Yeah,
and
100%.
literally trillions of dollars. And Neil Young, once again, is taking this hardline stance against these things, regardless. And I guess just take a step back to the Joe Rogan thing.
Mm.
Regardless of what you think about the vaccine or Joe Rogan or whatever it might be, Neil Young grew up in the era of countercultural change. He and Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young and the other bands he was a part of have protest songs. They have songs questioning authority. They have songs standing up for different things. At the very least, wouldn't you want Joe Rogan's right to be protected? And I that's Neil Young's choice as well. But shouldn't you say, hey, you know what? I don't agree with this, but I'm on this platform. Make of it what you will. He's free to say what he wants. I'm free to say what he wants, and just allow that to kind of happen.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, oh, I want nothing to do with this. I'm out of it. Like, forget the marketplace of ideas. I'm done. It is what it is. And you could call him out, sure, but I mean, it just seemed like he wasted so much energy on this when he's behind the scenes counting his millions because he sold out to the number one capitalist organization in the country.
Right. Yeah. You sold out to the people who could afford them. That could just toss 150 million in, and then that's fine because Neil Young wanted that money. And I think, like you said, Dixon, him going through all this energy, doing all this Spotify stuff and doing his protests and all that stuff. He even called on other people to just take their stuff off Spotify. Right. And it's like, all right, Neil, we're not all part of this, okay? Like we, but it's just funny because it makes him look even worse. Right. Because if he just said what you said and just said, oh, marketplace of ideas, whatever, I'm on here doing my own thing.
Yeah.
And maybe that's even better because it's like, oh yeah, Neil Young, let me look into what Neil Young's about. He's saying this stuff about the COVID vaccine. Oh, let me look into it. But instead it's just, he's gone.
Good point.
Mm-hmm. So
it's a really good point. Yeah. Facilitate more discourse, right?
Exactly. And if he didn't do this, didn't quit on Spotify, I would not even be calling him a hypocrite right now for selling out to Blackstone. Because I mean, the idea of that is just, it's so comical. Blackstone has probably hurt more people than Joe Rogan ever could possibly dream of.
That's such a good point, and it's so true. I think we have to make, and I think the reason why we're putting this out is because of the Spotify thing, because of the hypocrisy. Because I think a lot of these artists now, especially the older ones, are doing this. I know the Beatles sold out a long time ago. The Beach Boys, they just sold their catalog, not maybe just a few years ago, to Universal Music, but a publishing company nonetheless, right?
Right.
Bob Dylan sold some of his stuff. I mean, this is a fairly common thing, but it just gotta bug you.
It does, yeah.
And we are. Nobody's talked about this. Nobody's really put a light onto this, and we are, because it's completely ridiculous that Neil Young is going to say, "F you, Spotify." Oh wait, Blackstone, do you have money for me? Like, you know what I mean?
Oh wait, you guys are okay.
Yeah, and it reminds me of when Trump was running for president the first time, and he went on David Letterman, and David Letterman. This is when Trump could still be on late night talk shows and part of the media and actually have some coverage. And David Letterman had one of his ties, one of the Trump signature ties. And David Letterman's like, "Oh, you're talking about Make America Great Again. Oh, let's see your tie. Where's it made?" And he's like, "Oh, China. Okay, or wherever it was made."
Yeah.
And Trump's like, "Hey, they got to work too." That's exactly what it reminds me of. Like Neil Young, like, well, Blackstone, they have to make money too.
Yeah,
like, that's what it seems like. You know what I mean? In reality, the way he's operating.
Yeah, that is what it seems like. But it feels slimy. Like you said, he does the farm aid and everything, and then just to sell out to this massive, like, doesn't he have enough money? That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I don't know. And speaking of having enough money, I mean, can we talk about him going back to Spotify too? Like, what? Yeah. What's okay? Let's get into that quick. So he quit. He quit because Joe Rogan was on Spotify and, according to him, spreading COVID misinformation. Mm-hmm. But now years later, he's going back to Spotify, but Joe Rogan is still on there. I know that the exclusivity apparently has ended with Joe Rogan's contract, but if you really do have like a hardline stance, if you're going to stand by your morals, just keep your music off of there. Like, do you need the money, Neil? Like, what are you doing?
Right. No, you're absolutely right. That's the whole thing. Is I think he was wasn't he trying to launch his own streaming platform at one point? Wasn't Tidal? Wasn't that a Neil Young thing? Maybe I'm wrong.
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure Neil Young was trying to start his own, or did start his own, or something, or he was doing something as far as like, because the sound wasn't good. Like if he said, if you stream music, it doesn't sound correctly. I think that might have been a Neil Young thing. But once again, okay, you're selling out again.
Right.
You took your rights back, quote, whatever, and then you're going back to Spotify. So what did you do it for in the first place? Don't you have enough money, like you said?
Right.
And I think it's so interesting that the hypocrisy, it starts and there's no end. Because he has an album, I think it was the last one he released, maybe like 2020. It was like it was against Monsanto and DeKalb and all those companies, the pesticides and big whatever.
Okay.
You know, he had the album. He has I think he has a song. I think it's like 17 minutes. It's called Monsanto. It's just an anti-Monsanto thing.
Really? I didn't. Wow.
Yeah. Check it out. I'm pretty sure it was the last couple of years. But I mean, as far as like, I get where he's coming from, right?
Mm-hmm.
The factory farm, protecting the American right of the farmer, protecting the American dream, hard work, clean living, clean food, all that kind of stuff. And then just to see, well, it's okay. I mean, Blackstone they only own this small mom and pop house. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, how do you justify that in your head? I guess
I know.
You do all these things.
I don't know. Money, I mean, that kind of money must be like a crazy thing that you throw all your morals out. Like you do all this grandstanding and then you just throw all your morals out the window and there's, Blackstone's got to eat too, I guess.
It's so true because it's like, where does it end? I mean, that would be the moral thing to say to me, like, oh, absolutely not. I'm not selling out the Blackstone.
Yes.
I absolutely, if that was what I wanted to do. And, what's the point of releasing an album criticizing the factory farm? What's the point of pulling your songs from Spotify if you're just going to sell out for millions of dollars anyway? There's no point. It doesn't matter.
It makes it seem just so like everything that Neil Young stands for just seems so hollow when you look at what he did with this. It really, like, from the people that he sold it to, the money that he made, the whole Spotify thing, him going back to Spotify, it makes everything just seem kind of empty.
Yeah, it is for sure. It's definitely empty. Well, it's a sad state of affairs. It really is a sad state of affairs.
It is.
And we talked to them. We said this was going to be a burning hot episode. You know what, Neil? I hope when you're burning in H.
Wow. Oh my God.
You can live with the choices you've made. Honestly, because it doesn't matter what the heck you say. It's actions. And the action to me is I don't give an F. I don't care. Here's my songs. Give me my cash. I'm out the door. That's what it says.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. If the devil himself walked up and said, "Here's $150 million, Neil," will you take it? He'd probably say, "Yep, give it to me."
100%, absolutely.
And that's pretty much what he did.
Unbelievable, man. That's really a shame. Have you ever heard? Speaking of this, let's take this further into the records and rants. Have you ever heard the story about Robert Johnson?
I have not.
So Robert Johnson is a Delta blues artist, right?
Okay.
30s and 40s, and played guitar, right? And the legend goes, so Robert Johnson grew up in dirt poor, didn't have access to a guitar teacher or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
The legend goes that Robert Johnson went down to the crossroads, wherever that was, and he met the devil, and he sold his soul to the devil to be able to play the guitar. Because he doesn't have any influences. There's nobody that's teaching him guitar. Nobody's around. He's not a musical family. There's nothing there. And the band Cream, Eric Clapton's band Cream, wrote a song called Crossroads. And in reality, when you look at the history, you kind of could say like, oh, maybe there was something happening there, because there's literally he's not surrounded by any music, any culture whatsoever that could create the guitar player, the caliber of a guitar player he was. And here he is doing it. So yeah, so I guess maybe there's something to that. So who knows?
That's actually really interesting. I'm looking this up right now. That might be an interesting episode if we ever wants to do. That's actually
Yes.
Pretty cool. There's tons of stuff on this actually.
Yeah, it's wild. I think there's a Netflix episode about it, or like a Netflix little mini documentary kind of thing.
Yeah, that's cool. They got music myths. They got 60 minutes. Like,
yeah.
Yeah,
And if I recall correctly, Bob Dylan and Eric Clapton definitely influenced by that Delta blues sound, which really was started by Robert Johnson. He kicked off the whole genre without any kind of training at all, and just kind of like picked up a guitar one day randomly, it sounds like, and just started playing. So who knows?
Wow. I mean that's incredible. Isn't there like a movie called Crossroads where like isn't like Steve Vai in it or something, and like they play guitar? Maybe. Yeah, 1986 Crossroads. Yeah, versus maybe I wonder if this is like a play. I don't know. I have to. Yeah, the Devil's guitarist acting as Jack Butler. Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of like offshoots and like stories about this. But yeah, I didn't know that it started with Robert Johnson. That's actually a really cool little piece of trivia.
Yeah, it's like I said, just a quick aside, since everything was we're just burning up so badly in this episode. My gosh, I can't even take the heat because it's ridiculous.
I know. It really is. It truly is. And Dixon, honestly, thank you for bringing this up because
I'm happy to do it.
I had no idea, and I think Neil Young was really getting away with this.
Yes, for sure. You know what, Neil? Not so fast. And I guarantee you, nobody has any idea this occurred, especially now that Blackstone owns all this music. Well, majority of his catalog anyway. They would have no clue just because of how it was covered, how it was buried. You've heard nothing about this, and the people deserve to know.
They do.
Neil Young is going to go on tour eventually, and he's going to write new music. And just so you know, buy a Neil Young album or listen to it on Spotify. Oh my gosh! Well, guess what? All the ads are going right to the Blackstone wallet. And so, hope you can live with yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Neil Young. You've contributed with every stream. You contribute to taking another home away from the American people. So we really appreciate you, Neil. Thank you.
Yep, really doing great work, Neil. Keep it up. Keep selling your soul, dude. See how it works out.
Oh man,
I can't take it. I just can't take it.
I can't. I really can't. You know what I can take though, Dixon?
What's that?
Is our fans and subscribers and how much we love you guys. We're up to 313 now.
Wow, well on the road to 1,000.
We're getting more subs every single day.
Now, let me ask you a question. Did you suggest we would hit 1,000? Did you say by June?
No, not by. I think I said by the end. Wait, did I say June?
June stood out to me for some reason. But if it's the case where we have several days,
we're a little okay, guys. I'm just gonna say I said June. Every single person that listens to this, you have to subscribe right now. This is a plea. This is a call to action. I'm actually even gonna put it in the timestamp. So I'm gonna put call to action and put this timestamp in here. But guys, we need your help to get to 1,000. If we don't make it, then we're not going to do our giveaway. And you know, it would be really upsetting if you missed that. A lot of people are saying that. I'm certainly saying that. So
I am saying it as well. I agree with you. And I think it would be a disservice if you didn't smash that sub button, smash that like button. Like I said, do it. You're going to enjoy it. And where else could you get these scorching hot takes? Did anybody else blow the lid off of Neil Young's career?
No, not a single person. I go around to our contemporaries and I look at the videos that are out there. I don't. Everyone's like very dry, very matter of fact. Like, oh yeah, like I like this album and I'm going to give it an 8.0. Thank you for watching. Like what's I don't know. I mean, like, okay, great for them. You know, that's fine. Sure. That's fine. I mean, there's a crowd for that, but I think we're unique in the way that we discuss music and music topics.
Absolutely, 100%, definitely unique. And by the way, who was that guy that couldn't review the new Kanye West, the new Ye? What's his name?
Oh, what the hell? Hold on.
He said it was unreviewable. Well, guess what? We reviewed it.
Yeah, we did. We did.
So, there you go. Scorching hot takes.
Here it is. I literally just typed in bald guy who reviews music on YouTube. Anthony Fantano.
No, he's got quite the audience over there too.
Yeah, it really does. Wow, he's almost up to 3 million subs. As everyone knows, Anthony Fantano arch nemesis to Sam Hyde, which is hilarious. What's funny is that Sam Hyde literally has a song called like "Kill Fantano" or something.
Really?
Yeah.
Why are they arch enemies? What happened?
I think Sam Hyde just doesn't like how I think he perceives Anthony Fantano as a little B, like. For example, how he wouldn't review, that, it just stuff like that. But I don't know. It's really funny.
Did you see? Did you see the photo? I don't know if we'd mentioned this on the show before. Did you see the photo of Doja Cat? She was wearing a Sam Hyde T-shirt in her one Instagram
What?
post.
No way.
Yeah, so then she deleted it and cropped it out and posted the same picture with Sam Hyde cropped out of it.
What?
Yeah. Look it up.
I gotta see this.
Yeah.
Doja Cat Oh my god.
That's so funny. That's just a random thing.
The funniest thing. So the shirt. The shirt, if people don't know, it's the Sam Hyde photo of him holding a gun, and it's the photo that 4chan circulates around that says, like, if there's ever like a mass shooting or like a school or whatever, they circulate this picture around of Sam Hyde and say, yeah, this is the killer, and then it gets on the news sometimes.
I've seen that before. It's unbelievable. Sam Hyde. It's just such a random thing that Doja Cat is aware of Sam Hyde.
I know that's the funniest thing is you go to Reddit, first thing I find, Doja Cat poses with a shirt that has a neo-Nazi on it.
Oh, there you go. Wow.
Yeah. I don't know.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah, that's something else. I would never expect that. Wow, we're really breaking stuff here today. That's amazing.
Yeah, we're really uncovering all of things. Speaking of that, do you have an update? Let me ask you this before we get off the air.
Yes, yeah. Do
you have an update real quick about who was Sam Hyde's friend that had the wife?
Oh.
What the heck was his name?
Ethan. What? Oh my God! What the heck was his name? I have to look it up. His wife's name was Anissa. His name was iDubbbz. I forget what his actual name is.
iDubbbz. That's it. iDubbbz. Yes.
Yeah. So they did. Or I'm sorry, his name is Ian. Ian, not Ethan.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry.
There you go.
Yeah. So anyway, iDubbbz. So yeah, I don't have anything new about them. I think the whole thing that got him and Sam Hyde like tied up with each other is the fact that they were doing the boxing, and then Ian said, "Oh well, you can't be in my YouTube boxing thing," and blah blah blah. And that, and then Sam Hyde, he's like, well, I'm going to join another boxing league, and then Sam Hyde wanted to fight this like big leftist streamer called Hassan Piker, and then Sam Hyde won, and then like in the middle of the ring, he says he's going to come to his house, come to Hassan's house, and I don't even know if I could say this on YouTube. I don't want to get us taken down, but just watch a clip. It's hilarious.
Oh my God. I'll tell you what, I love this drama. I love this manufactured drama.
I know.
It's so interesting to think that like YouTube is like a platform. It just seems so random to me that people actually seek this out and the shows on it and everything else. It's wild. Yeah,
no, YouTube is like kind of like evolved into something else completely. Like when it started, I think back in, what was that, 08 or 05 maybe?
Something like that, yeah.
I mean, it just used to be like people used to upload like gaming videos or like funny skits, but it's and it was just, there was no really community. You just kind of went there to watch videos. But now it's like this whole ecosystem of like creators and drama and fans and like all this other external stuff, like doing the boxing matches, all this crazy stuff. Yeah, it's gotten nuts.
Wild.
Yeah, and we're part of it. We're part of it.
We are. We're part of it, and you're part of it too. So like I said, call to action. Smash that like button. Smash that subscribe button. Comment your favorite Neil Young song.
Yes. Yeah. Let us know what you think about Neil Young. Do you agree with this? Are you able to look the same way at Neil Young after we just dropped this bomb?
Really?
I mean, I don't know if I can.
No, definitely not. Things have changed.
They have, but we will never change. And we will always have new episodes every week, guys. Thank you for listening. We really appreciate you. And we will see you in the next one.
Peace.